Fire doesn't just keep you warm. In the wrong hands it wastes fuel and dies fast. In the right hands, it becomes a controlled force that can melt metal, cook faster, and burn longer than charcoal with less wood. And, long before briquettes, bellows or steel stoves, tribal societies figured out a fire method so efficient it still surprises modern survival experts today. This is the fire bowl method, and once you understand how it works, you'll never look at an open campfire the same way again. Fire bowls weren't invented for comfort, they were born out of necessity. Across Africa, parts of the Middle East, Central Asia, and the Americas, communities living in fuel-scarce environments needed heat that was intense, predictable, and economical. They couldn't afford waste. Every branch mattered, every spark counted. What they built instead was a low-tech system that turned ordinary wood into a focused heat engine. The core idea is deceptively simple. Instead of laying wood flat and letting heat escape upward and outward, fire bowls concentrate combustion inward. Heat reflects back into the fuel. Airflow feeds the fire from below and the sides. Flames stay tight, hot, and controlled. The result is higher temperatures with less material. Here's the interesting part. The shape matters more than the fuel. Fire bowls were typically shallow, rounded vessels made from clay-packed earth or carved stone. Some were portable, others were built into the ground. The curved walls weren't decorative, they acted like mirrors for heat-bouncing infrared energy back toward the burning core, instead of letting it dissipate into the night air. This inward reflection is one of the reasons these fires burn hotter than charcoal fires laid flat on the ground. Charcoal burns hot, but only if oxygen reaches it efficiently. In a bowl, airflow is naturally regulated. Fresh oxygen is drawn in low. Hot gases rise, pulling more air behind them. It creates a self-feeding draft without moving parts. That draft effect is what modern rocket stoves try to recreate with steel and insulation. Tribal fire bowls did it with dirt and experience. Another key detail often overlooked is fuel preparation. Firebowl cultures didn't rely on thick logs, they used split wood, dried brush, and small branches arranged vertically or slightly angled inward. This orientation exposes more surface area to oxygen. More surface area means faster, cleaner combustion, less smoke, more heat. Because the bowl confines the fire, even small fuel pieces burn completely. Nothing is wasted. Ash production drops, heat output rises. In practical terms, this meant shorter cooking times and fewer trips to gather wood. In survival terms, it meant energy conservation and safety. Historically, these bowls served multiple roles. They were cooktops, heat sources, and in some cases industrial tools. Archaeological evidence shows fire bowls used for pottery firing, pitch production, and metalworking at small scales. Bronze Age communities didn't need blast furnaces for everyday tasks. They needed controlled heat they could trust. What makes this method so effective is thermal mass. Clay and stone absorb heat, then release it slowly. Once a fire bowl is hot, it stays hot. Even when flames drop, radiant heat continues. That's why these fires feel different. They don't flicker and fade, they hum. This is also why they're safer in windy conditions. Open fires scatter embers, fire bowls shield them. The inward curve blocks gusts while maintaining airflow from below. In deserts and high plains where wind is constant and fuel is precious, this wasn't optional, it was survival engineering. Now, this is where things get clever. Some cultures added a secondary layer. A raised grate of green wood or stone allowed ash to fall away from the burning fuel. Ash smothers heat, so removing it keeps combustion efficient. Without knowing the chemistry, they mastered it through observation. Others adjusted bowl depth based on use. Shallow bowls for cooking where access mattered, and deeper bowls for heat retention overnight. These weren't accidents. They were refined designs passed down through generations. Modern experiments back this up. When researchers recreate traditional fire bowls and compare them to open fires using identical fuel, the bowls consistently reach higher temperatures faster. They also maintain usable heat longer after the flames die down. This isn't folklore, it's physics. And unlike charcoal, fire bowls don't require pre-processing fuel. Charcoal needs time, controlled oxygen deprivation, and planning. Fire bowls work immediately. In emergency conditions, that speed really matters. For survival enthusiasts today, the takeaway is powerful. You don't need modern gear to control fire. You need shape, airflow, and discipline. If you're recreating this in the field, the basics still apply. Dig a shallow, rounded depression. Line it with clay-rich soil if available. Avoid sharp corners. Feed the fire vertically, not horizontally. Let the bowl do the work. You'll notice the difference within minutes. This method also reduces visibility. Less smoke means less signal. That mattered in times of conflict and still matters today for stealth camping or wildlife awareness. What's fascinating is how often this knowledge was lost, then reinvented. 20th century militaries experimented with compact fire pits and field stoves that unknowingly echoed ancient bowl designs. The principles resurfaced because they work. Fire bowls are a reminder that innovation didn't start with industry. It started with people watching flames and learning from them. They understood that fire isn't just about ignition, it's about containment, direction, and, well, respect. And that's the deeper lesson here. Survival techniques that last thousands of years do so, because they balance efficiency with simplicity. No moving parts, no fragile systems, just smart use of natural laws. That's the legacy of survival. If this kind of forgotten knowledge matters to you, stay with this channel, subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive, like the video if you found something useful, share it with someone who still thinks a bigger fire is always better, because sometimes the smartest survival tools aren't new at all, they're waiting quietly in the past, burning hotter than we ever expected.